Hey there guys, so what I want to do today is I want to try to see what kind of games we could actually run on the Camrui P2 here with the Ryzen 3 4300U. This is the most popular Windows mini PC on Amazon. This thing pretty much outsells everything else, and this configuration is the most popular with 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 512 gigabyte SSD, and of course that Ryzen 3 4300U. If you're a regular watcher of this channel, you probably have heard me talk about the 4300U and how I'm not that big of a fan of it at all. But of course, that doesn't really matter because this thing is outselling everything else. This is a chip that is extremely popular right now, at least in the mini PC segment. And well, this configuration has a downside that a lot of mini PCs have been having this year. And well, that downside is this right here, a single stick of 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and it's only running at 2666. So not only is it single channel memory, but it's also running at a much slower speed than what this chip can normally handle, where 3200 megahertz is more standard. So overall, this is going to be a pretty brutal uphill battle because that is going to be paired with a Vega 5cu iGPU. So it's really just not a lot of cores to work with on both the iGPU and the CPU, as well as the fact that we are limited to single channel memory. So I'm going to really struggle here to find games that will run on this hardware, but thankfully with the rise of indie games, we can definitely find some things to get this to a playable state. But let's see what we can do. So to start things off, I did go with Megabonk, and this was one that was performing really well on here. Very great result. This was something that I was hoping to see, and thankfully I was able to get a fantastic result out of this one, where not only was it a playable experience, but we were getting a very nice, very smooth FPS throughout all of this. You will see the occasional glitch here. This again, I had an issue with OBS in my capture card that just kind of persisted through a few of the recordings that I've done, so you will occasionally see glitching on the screen. That's been resolved at this point, but some of the recordings that I had done were just ruined because of it. But the numbers that you see on the screen are what matter. The frame times are what matters. If you see that glitching on the screen, just if you don't see any spikes or anything like that in the frame time charts, that means you are not actually seeing that when you're gaming. That's a glitch that's happening with the capture card that I'm using. So after the great experience that I had with Megabonk, I decided to try out Repo, and this is Repo with all of the lowest graphics settings. You can adjust some things. It isn't really all that drastic visually speaking. It doesn't really change the game all that much. It makes it just slightly blurrier, and it fits the aesthetic of it anyway, so it's not really a game changer in any capacity. But with the lowest graphics settings, it seems to run decently. It's about a 60 FPS average, really. The 1% lows aren't coming down at all. If you look at the frame time charts, it looks great. Again, you will see the glitches in the video, but that's just a capture card issue. Pay attention to the frame time chart. The frame time chart is telling you what is actually happening, and you'll see it's a completely smooth, perfect experience. So it does run really well on here, but I'd be lying if I wasn't a little disappointed to see that we weren't getting into the high refresh rate range just because of the result that I got on Megabonk. But still, if this is the type of game that you like to play with your friends, which is exactly what I like to do, this will run perfectly fine. Now, the type of games that I did find to run pretty well on here were games like Core Keeper, Gravekeeper, Stardew Valley, those types of games. They run pretty decently on here. It's not spectacular. You'll see by the 1% lows here in Core Keeper that the performance is not perfect, but it's consistent enough that you're going to be able to get a thoroughly enjoyable experience here, though expect some drops, especially as the game progresses and the maps get bigger and more complex, but it'll still be able to keep up perfectly fine. At this point, though, it became pretty clear to me that that RAM limitation was going to be a pretty huge problem, so I had to bust out some of the old classics. Here we have Codename Cure. This is a source-based game, and it's essentially just a very simple zombie co-op game. It's completely free. I actually used to play this with some friends back in the day because they didn't really have PCs that could play games all that well, so this was always one of those go-to games when we were playing with people that just did not have gaming PCs at all. You know, we're talking about people using laptops with integrated graphics from about a decade ago. It's a pretty decent game, if kind of brutal to play, but it also performs really well on such a low-end system like this, where we're able to get a above 60 FPS average with decent enough 1% lows, and I didn't really have to adjust any of the graphics settings. We could certainly boost those 1% lows if we were willing to drop things, but with such an old version of the source engine, I don't really think it's necessary. And well, with Codename Cure working pretty well, I decided to go back to another one that usually seems to run pretty well on things, and that is Resident Evil 5, a game all the way from 2009. So we're really going far back to try to get something playable here, and surprisingly enough, it's still not doing great. This is with the lowest graphics settings, and we are at 1080p. We have no AA or anything like that. And well, you can see here that the result is less than ideal. The FPS average is in the mid 40s, and the 1% lows go even below 40, so not exactly great. Still, it's going to be more than playable enough. If you played this originally when it came out on console, you were playing this at a 30 FPS average anyway, so this is really not going to be that far off, especially because this is at the full 1080p resolution, not even any kind of upscaling or anything. Of course, if you are willing to drop down to, say, 900p, you can get this to perform better, but I don't really think it's necessary for this style of game. Since we were really just scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of what I consider to be playable on almost anything, I decided to try out Left 4 Dead 2, and unfortunately the results here were not exactly great either. Our FPS average and 1% lows weren't looking great. It's certainly doable if you're just looking for something casual, but if you're somebody that's looking to play the higher difficulties, or you're looking to play a lot of the modded content on here, it's not going to be ideal. So this one was a pretty disappointing result, and again, the bandwidth limitation of that single stick of memory is really what's causing issues here. If we had a second stick of memory and it still just added up to 16 gigabytes in total, that would open us up to a whole new world of games that we could play. But right now with this configuration, it's just absolutely brutal to find anything that works on here. Luckily, I was able to have a far better time with Killing Floor. That is the original Killing Floor. No, not Killing Floor 3, not Killing Floor 2, the original one. Released also around 2009, I believe. This is running on the Unreal 2 engine, which at the time of release was already kind of a dinosaur engine. Unreal 3 was fully into its lifespan. It was one of the most popular engines used at the time, and so it was surprising that they used such an old engine, but at least it's helped out here because it performs significantly better than Left 4 Dead 2. It's very unfortunate that I'm just getting this weird graphical glitch that happens in the recording. Again, if you look at the frame times, there's no issues there. It's literally just the video file itself, but this definitely felt significantly better to play than Left 4 Dead did. But again, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here because of the fact that, again, the 1% lows are still dropping below 60, and for such an old title on such a low-end engine by today's standards, this is still pretty brutal to see. Of course, War Thunder comes in to essentially reassure us that there is some solid performance here that we can get for a game that is still popular to this day. Of course, there are some caveats. It's if you're going for the air combat, the performance could be pretty decent here, but running the built-in benchmark that tests the tank battles as well as really pushes the CPU, things start to look a little differently. There's a pretty significant drop in performance here in the built-in benchmark. You can see that the 1% lows are reaching far lower numbers. The FPS average isn't looking as good in general. It's just a far more intensive scenario, so if you're going to be doing any kind of the tank combat or ground combat in this game, you're going to have a far tougher time. So as you can see, trying to get anything playable on here is very difficult to do. You know, at the end of the day, that RAM limitation is big, but also we still have a Ryzen 3 in here, and it's a Ryzen 3 with those 5 Vega cores. No matter what, it's going to be a limiting factor. Sure, if we could update this ourselves, you know, get a second stick in there, we'll get some better performance. Even if you could just scrape together a 4 gigabyte stick that you took out of another laptop that you had laying around, if you could put it in here, you will be able to boost the performance of the system. Whether or not that's going to be enough to get the games that you want to play to a playable state, that really just depends. You know, at the end of the day, the Vega 5 in here is very limited, but you can squeeze out more performance out of this thing, and if we do upgrade the memory, we would be in a whole different world in terms of gaming capabilities. But I'll catch you guys in the next one.